Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Veterans Series by Fantasy Football Hub. So in the previous videos in this series, we met Holly Shand and got to know a bit about her fantasy football history and how she turned her passion into a living. If you missed it, the links are in the description below. In this final video with Holly, we are going to ask her for her fantasy football tips. So firstly, Holly, welcome back. What is the best piece of fantasy football advice you have ever received?
I think the big one for me is to try and be patient, and it's something that I wasn't very good at doing in my first season, but I didn't quite appreciate the complexities of the game. But, you know, having that patience to hold on to a player maybe when they've, you know, burnt you for the first couple of weeks, and, you know, give them the 3 or 4 games that have been the time frame that you know, we were looking at the fixtures that you wanted to have them for, and you know, just try and bide your time a little bit. And likewise with transfers, I mean, I do make a few early transfers when I need to, if I've got exact funds in the bank, but trying to be patient with those transfers until close to the deadline, because, you know, there's a lot of teams that, you know, have midweek games in other competitions and injuries that can crop up, and then early team news as well that sometimes filters through. So patience would be the big one for me.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And what is the biggest mistake that you see fantasy football managers make, would you say?
I think it's managers that aren't patient, which would be the big mistake. Okay. So converse to what I just said. So I see a lot of managers, you know, rushing to make an early transfer to get on the bandwagon of a player that's performed well in a given game week. And it's not necessarily a player that's got a proven track record in the Premier League or necessarily in any league for that matter. And, you know, one freak performance that is very good doesn't mean that it's a player that you'll want to transfer in and, you know, hold on to for a few weeks just because they've had one good game. So it's being able to spot the longevity in players and, you know, avoid the bandwagons that aren't really bandwagons and just a knee-jerk reaction.
Definitely. Okay. How did you come across Fantasy Football Hub, and what attracted you to join as a contributor?
Well, Fantasy Football Hub was sort of on my radar from its infancy, because even in its early days, it was creating very good fantasy content that I was able to showcase in the articles, the community articles that I was producing on my own website. And, you know, the fact that I feel like Fantasy Football Hub in some ways with its members articles tries to cater for your more serious fantasy managers. So it really is a tool that, you know, the engaged fantasy community are wanting to use week in, week out. So that was really what attracted me to being a contributor, because, you know, you're able to produce a level of content that, you know, that really delves into things and becomes more stats driven and data heavy. So having, you know, an audience that was going to consume, you know, my articles on a weekly basis in the case of the form v fixture trackers, and, you know, that is a big piece of work that really does continue all the way through the season, and, you know, comes up in even more detail where we get to blanks and double game weeks. So having that audience there that was going to engage in that journey with those charts that I produced was, you know, something that I really liked.
Excellent. Okay. And lastly, Holly, what is your best fantasy football tool?
I think my favourite has got to be the player comparison tool on the Hub, because I really like those little radar charts. They're really attractive to me. And, you know, the biggest decisions for fantasy managers tends to come about, you know, at a time where, you know, you're on a wild card and you're literally choosing between player A, player B. You know, they're both at a similar price, and, you know, being able to see that radar of what they can offer you, not just necessarily in terms of goals and assists, but all the other important things that contribute to their FPL points. It's really handy. And the fact that you can even get to the point now where you can put a couple of players in that comparison tool just makes it all the more valuable.
Yeah, it's my favourite as well, for sure. Okay, and finally, Holly, if I can just have a little bit more of the time. Just a very, very quick fire kind of AOB round, if that's okay. Are you a form or a fixtures person?
Ooh, you're getting me there, aren't you?
I got you right.
Form being fixture charts, but form. If I had to go for one, it'd be form.
Okay. Yes or no? Is building team value important?
No.
Is there such a thing as an essential player?
Yes.
Stats or eye test?
Eye test.
And finally, FPL or maths?
FPL, because it involves maths.
Yeah, okay, cool, okay. Thank you so much, Holly, for sharing your incredible story with us. Could you remind us where we can find you on Twitter and your website and things?
Yes, so the website is fantasyfootballcommunity.com, and you can find me on Twitter and most social media at ffcommunity_.
Excellent. And if you like what you hear and what you're watching, please rate, like, share, subscribe and retweet. It all helps us get the word out and make sure you don't miss anything. All the links to Holly's videos are in the description below. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for fantasy football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, Holly's form versus fixture articles, and much, much more. If you fancy a free 7-day Hub membership trial, just go onto the website and sign up. The link is also below in the description. We will be back soon chatting with another fantasy football veteran. Until then, thank you very much and goodbye.